All right, we're rolling.
All right, this is an interview at the Holiday Inn, Kingston, New York. It is the 7th of October, 2006, approximately 9 a.m. Interviewers are Mike Russert and Wayne Clark. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Sebastian, Andriello,
When and where were you born?
New York City, August 24th, 1916.
Okay. What was your educational background prior to entering service?
Went through high school.
All right. Do you remember where you were when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
I was down at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. It was on a Sunday afternoon. We were watching film, and the general came out and said, I have an announcement to make. And he said Pearl Harbor was just bombed. And you fellas that are 38 years old, that was supposed to go home tomorrow, go back to the supply office and get all your stuff back again. You're not being released. So there was quite a bit of yelling and language that we don't put on anything. But then they sent our 2nd Battalion Headquarters Company to Asheville, North Carolina to guard the reservoir there. And I had the job of driving a Jeep back and forth to Fort Bragg to get the mail. At that time I was working in the mail. Every day I would have to go there and get it and bring it to the fighters. Then after that we went back to Fort Bragg.
Okay, I'm going to stop you here and go back
Go ahead.
to you going in. Well, you said you were drafted?
Yes.
When did you enter service?
January 21st. Now that's what gets me out. I was in before Pearl Harbor, so that had to be 40 or 41.
41. Okay, it's written down here 41, yes,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Where did you go for your basic training?
We went to Fort Dix, and from there, a week later, they put us on trains and we went down to Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Now, is this the first time you were ever really away from home?
Yes, sir.
How did you feel?
Oh, not that good, not that good, because I just lost my mother, and it was just my dad and I. And when I went to the draft board, the lady told me, your father-in-law, I said, yes, he's living, but not my mother. And she said, is he in good health? I said, thank God so far. She said, well, then you can be drafted. I said, wait a minute, ma'am, I'm an only child. It's just my dad and I. And just lost my mother, and she said, that doesn't matter. So I got drafted.
Do you keep in contact with your dad through letters and so on?
Oh,
or?
yes. My dad and my future wife, we were engaged at the time.
All right. How long was your basic training in North Carolina?
Was it a year? Well, we went over, yeah, we went to, I think it was a year or so.
All right. Now, you said you were stationed with the headquarters
Headquarters
unit.
Company, 2nd Battalion.
What did you do in that unit?
I took care of the mail for a while. And then after that, they had me doing anything that they could get me to do.
Okay. Now, when you first went in, did you have the 06? Were you trained in the 03 Springfield, or did you have the
We had
M1?
Springfield first, and then we got the M1s later.
Okay. Do you have the old helmets and so
Yeah.
on too?
We had the one that had that AAA bar nothing on the side of it. That's how they could tell our battalion, Patty Flynn, Colonel Flynn. There's a book out of him now. And so then they send us down there. We were intense for a while. Then we went into barracks. When we left Fort Dix, we went down into barracks, the 9th Division. And we stayed there for training and everything.
Okay. Now, you were explaining after Pearl Harbor, then you drove back and forth, you drove the mail back and forth to
From
different areas?
Fort Bragg to Asheville, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. All right, how long was your unit stationed in Asheville?
That I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. What was their job there?
The 9th Division,
Mm-hmm.
we were being trained,
Mm-hmm.
infantry training,
Mhm.
heights and everything else. Whatever they had to do, teach us, they did there.
Okay.
Now, since you handled the mail, did you still have to go through all that training too, with the
Yes.
rest of them?
Yes. There was no exception. You did what the rest of the fellows did.
Mm-hmm.
They put it, and when it came to hiking, B and I was about the shortest, two of us were the shortest guys in the company. We were up at the head of the line all the time for a 20-mile hike, and the guys used to laugh. Say, you're walking 40 miles with the steps you've taken, we're walking 20. We said, thanks, and the captain looked at us and started laughing. He was a very good man.
So you were the pace setters.
Yeah. And walking in that sand in North Carolina. Well, the good thing we got used to that, because then when we went to Africa in the Sahara Desert, we got used to it.
Mm-hmm. Did you go on many maneuvers?
Yes, we
Down
ran
in the
maneuvers
south?
all around down south.
Mm-hmm.
We had to go through all those tobacco fields, and we were warned, don't destroy the plants, because this is their livelihood. So we had to be pretty careful what we did.
Okay. How long were you at Fort Bragg?
From when I first went in till we left, and I don't remember what the date was that we left.
Mm-hmm. So you went to North Africa then first.
Right,
You were always assigned to the 9th Division.
right.
Okay. Well, you're not sure when you went overseas. Did you go over in a convoy?
Yes, we did.
Where did you leave from?
Jersey, when was it? Oh, Hoboken, New Jersey.
And whereabouts did you land in?
Well, we took off then, and we were with the invasion team, and we were supposed to land in Algiers.
Mm-hmm.
But a few miles out, we were going with the ships and all. We were on the decks, and I look up and I see an airplane. And I look at the markings, and it was an Italian seaplane. I said, what the heck is he doing here? So the officers came around and said, what's the matter? And I said, look at that plane up there. He said, what kind of, that's an Italian seaplane. And he has a torpedo underneath it. Oh, they said, he won't bother us. 10 minutes later, we see him circling, and then we see the torpedo drop and headed right for our ship. And sure enough, he hit us in the back end with the propellers, and that knocked us out. We couldn't move.
Now, were you in the Mediterranean when this happened?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't know what to do. We couldn't do nothing, but the officers were always wondering what's going to happen. So if we would have stayed there and drifted.
Continue.
So as I was saying, after we got hit, we couldn't do nothing. The ship was just drifting. And they told us, if we go drifting 5 miles down this part, we'll be in neutral territory, and they'll take us all off these ships and put us there, and we'll stay there for the whole war. So we all let out a yell. Boy, that's good. Then, looking around, some fellow yells, here come the British. British. There were 4 destroyers. They threw a line to each one of them. They hooked up, and they pulled us into Algiers.
Now, the ship you were on, did it have guns mounted on it at all?
No.
So there's no way you guys could have
we
defended
couldn't do
yourselves?
nothing.
Okay.
So they put us into Algiers, and we landed there, and we traveled from there. We went out of Algiers to a little town called Bermandries, where we were stationed until we were set to go into action.
And how long did that take?
Well, it was 2 months, I think, 3 months maybe. And then they put us on trucks and they took us out towards where we were supposed to go.
Mhm.
And that I held guitar and all of them. But we got involved in it and that was it.
So you were involved in actions in North Africa?
Action, yeah.
So you were fighting the Rommel and the German desert
Right,
forces?
the desert fox.
Mhm.
He was a fox.
What was it like the first time you saw combat? Did you have
Oh,
a lot of
kinda rough.
casualties?
Kind of rough. I wasn't used to anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And being that we had to dig foxholes and everything, but then we managed to work our way out of it. The only problem when we hit Cherbourg, there was all hedgerows,
Mhm.
and you couldn't see the Germans. They were behind all these bushes,
Mhm.
and you couldn't get through with it.
Now, how long were you in North Africa?
Well, I don't know how long it was till we were shipped to Sicily.
Now, were you involved in the landings in Sicily, or was
Yes,
it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we landed at Licata, Sicily.
Were you under fire when you landed?
No, not when we landed. After we hit, then we were put under fire.
Did your unit suffer many casualties?
Quite a few. The most of the casualties came just before the Polish.
When you were in Sicily, you were with Patton then.
Yeah, we were with him.
What did you think of Patton?
Very good general, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But he was tough. Very tough.
Did you ever get to see him personally?
Yeah. One night it was raining terrible, and we were in foxholes in some part of Sicily, I forgot where, near Messina, and he comes rolling up with the tanks, and he goes, "What outfit is this?" So nobody would answer him. So we made the captain answer, and he told him who we were. He said, "Well, you're the infantry. Why don't you make way for me to go through to get to them?" So the captain said, "Because I haven't had orders yet, and we can't do it. These hedgerows are stopping us." So he's yelling his head off. He's standing on top of the tank with his 2 silver guns there, and we're in foxhole. And I turned around and said, "You're the tank outfit. You make the way for us, and then we'll come through." And he jumped off that tank, wanting to know who said that. So Captain Pedregal looked at me. He's, "I don't know, sir." He said, "Well, you better find out because I'll really let him have it." So then he said, all right, he got up, and sure enough, he started to go through, and then we followed. So Captain Pedregal used to call me Andy. "Andy, if he ever would have got you, you would have been more than what he is." As I know it, Captain, thanks a million. I said, "But after all, he had the tanks. We couldn't go through those bushes and everything. It was impossible." So then one of the sergeants in the outfit got an idea, and he told the captain, "I got a good idea. We ought to put things in the front of the tank, weld them on, and push them through with all the bushes." And sure enough, that's what started to get us to move. He did that, and we were able to move in towards Cherbourg. So when we got into Cherbourg, we're driving in there and walking in there, and hand grenades are coming flying out of the windows of the houses. So we figured, what's going on? So we were ordered to go in the houses, and anybody was there that was German, just do what you're supposed to do. So one fellow walked in, and a couple of us followed him into this house, and he heard movements upstairs. So he turned around, he put his gun facing the ceiling, and they let go of a few rounds. When they got up there, they seen all girls in German uniforms. These were girls that were married to German soldiers, and they had trained them. And they're the ones that were throwing the grenades at us. So we were very surprised when the guys rolled them over, and they're the girls, breasts and all. Whoa, we felt, after all, American people don't do that. And we felt bad, but the captain says, hey, it was either you or them. You seen what they were doing. And we continued on, and then they nailed the general that was in charge of Cherbourg. I can't remember his name. He had a funny German name. And we got quite a few soldiers in those caves that they had. And when we went in them caves, we found stuff there that you wouldn't believe that they had taken from homes of all these French people. They had everything you could think of in there. But then we got him, and he surrendered with the fellas there, and we kept going on to the rest.
Now, when you were in France, were you involved in the Normandy Invasion? Or did you go in after D-Day? Were you in on D-Day or sure?
2 days after we went in. Well, we still got involved in it.
All right. So it was very difficult fighting through the hedgerows.
Very bad. I mean, you couldn't help yourself because they could see you better than we could see them. Because they were stationed behind them. They knew where they were. We couldn't, you just fire your gun and hope it did some damage.
Now, you mentioned that you were wounded. Where were you?
I was in Belgium.
In Belgium, okay, so that's a little later. Now, what were you still assigned to to Patton's army?
Yeah, until we left Sicily.
Oh, okay, and then who were you assigned to? Do you recall?
First Army, I think it was. First Army.
Okay.
I don't know if he was.
No, he was third.
Third Army. No, I
Yeah.
think we went to the First Army.
All right.
I'm sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. That's okay. So later on, you were involved in the Bulge?
No, I was wounded before that.
Oh, okay.
And
do you remember about what time you were wounded?
September that year.
Do you want to tell us what happened?
We were riding along the road, and Lieutenant, not riding, we were walking, and shells started to come in. And next thing I know, there were 5 of us, and each one of us got hit. I was pretty lucky. I just got wounded in my thigh, 2 big pieces of shrapnel. One of the fellas lost an arm, another one in the leg. But then we were shipped, they couldn't do nothing with us there on the field hospital, and we were shipped to England, to the hospital in England. We went there, and there they operated on me, and I was there for about a month. And then they said, you can be released. They released us, and it happened to be that the 5 of some of the fellows that were with me, we were together, and when we got back, when they shipped us back from England to France, they went to the Repo Depot, they called it, and this major turned around and says, well, now we're going to assign you to a division. So he says, sorry, sir, no wait. What are you telling me, no wait? We want to go back to the 9th Division where we started from in Fort Bragg. He says, I don't know if that's possible. I said, well, we'll walk wherever we have to go in France until we get to them. He says, let me check it out. He said, just relax in there. About an hour later, he comes back, he says, I've got all the information where the 9th Division is. Oh, we were happy. He said, but I'll tell you one thing, you can't walk there, not that close. So I said, well, we'll get there. He said, wait a minute. He said, there's a Jeep down there. He says, who drives mostly? I said, audience, but I said, I used to drive it in the States. He's okay, take that Jeep, I'll give you 10 gallons of gas, 5-gallon tanks each, and you follow my map. When you need gas, you go to a spot where there's American gas station, gas depots, and get more gas. And that's what we did. So when we came back to the outfit, they were all in foxholes because it was cold as anything. And the captain says, what are you doing here? And they wanted to transfer it to a different outfit, Captain Pedregal said, but we refused. He said, what about the Jeep? I said, so mate, he gave it to you. He said, oh, Jesus. And had a big red cross on it. So he said, go down to the supply there and make the fellas paint olive drab over that cross and everything. And then just put R underneath. He said, and that's your Jeep from now on, being that you can't walk too good. I said, thank you very much. He says, you'll be working with Lieutenant American. I said, he's the S3? Yeah. I said, oh, all right. So myself and a sergeant, I can't remember the boy's name, we took off and he'd go around before everybody. So as we're going around old Belgium there, we come into a town. And we come through the town, we get into the main square, and there are 10 Tiger tanks in there. So all these Germans, they were so surprised to see us, and we were surprised to see them. So the lieutenant says, turn this thing around and get out of here. I said, I don't think we can make it, Lieutenant. He says, try. But then we were stopped. So this colonel comes out and he's yabbering in German. So the fellow that was with us, the sergeant, he spoke very good German. So he got the everything. He says, we're stuck. I said, oh, God. So then he said, no, we'll get out of here. So he kept talking to the guy, and sooner or later, we turned the Jeep around and we took off. But we did find out from him that they were going to attack our battalion that morning, the next morning. And they would surround us. They showed us on the map where they had the whole 2nd Battalion of the 39th surrounded. Whoa, said, that's not right. So we took off, and we got back to our captain, and we told him what happened. So right away they started calling for artillery and everything, and thank God they never did get to us. We were lucky.
So
Any idea why he let you go?
Not to this day. How long ago is it that we're out of it? When we were driving back, I said to Lieutenant Merrigan, hey Frank, why did he let us go? He says, Andriello, you know as much as I do. So the sergeant said, well, he said we couldn't do nothing, there were too many of them. So we said, yeah, but we said, that's nothing. So we went back, and sure enough, then they got the artillery to start in on them, and that helped us out. But then we still had to continue all the way through.
Now you were involved in the Bulge?
No, we got there I got back to the outfit day before it was over, but we didn't have to go in there. I didn't have to go in.
Now when you went back to your outfit, did you have winter gear? Did they give you winter gear?
Oh, I had it all. We had it already. Yeah.
Did you have boots or just your regular
The
combat boots?
regular combat boots.
Do you have to change your socks a lot?
Yeah. That was the problem, because once your socks got sweated, your feet weren't worth a dime. And we kept changing them. Then when we'd get a day or so rest, first thing we would do is try to wash our stockings out in the helmets, take the liner out and use the metal helmet, and get them dried up so we'd have enough socks on us.
Now what kind of weapon did you carry?
I was issued an M1 and then a machine gun, a 40,
The Thompson?
and then a
Grease gun?
45
Oh, pistol too.
pistol.
Okay. Now what were your duties? Basically, you had this Jeep, were you just a driver or?
Yes, my duties were to drive the lieutenant around with the sergeant for ahead of the outfit to see what was going on. And that's what I had to do. I told Captain Pedregal, I says, Frank, I'm better off walking. He says, no, you're not. That's your job from now on. So I had it till I was sent home.
Now, did you call the officers by their first name like that?
Yeah. They didn't have no emblems on their shoulders or nothing. Then when it was over, we used to go to town and they'd come with us. Nobody knew who they were, the lieutenants, captain or nothing. And it was just like buddies. but they were very good. The officers I had were very good officers.
Okay, could you describe your, I guess, adventures, experiences from Belgium through into Germany?
Well, it wasn't good, because you're always under fire at every chance you had, and you just prayed to God that you would make it. Some of the fellows weren't that lucky, but I was wounded, but still in all I came back, thank God. And some of the days you just sat there, and when it was dull, and you wonder, what are we doing here? What are we fighting for? And you just didn't hit you, you know. Then when we hit Germany, that was the biggest surprise of all. We get into these towns, and these people just look at you, you know, and not a word, they start waving flags and all, and we said, here we are fighting them, and they're waving our flags at us. So then when we hit a certain part of Germany, we were told by the Colonel Flynn, you fellas go ahead of us and look for billets for the battalion. You have to go to this certain town in Germany. When we got there, we looked around and we said, how are they going to put everybody in these houses? So we had to go around to the houses and see what was going on in there. And we assigned houses to the whole battalion there. So we get to this one house where the lieutenant and I and the sergeant stayed. There was an elderly couple. She was holding her arms and scared stiff, so this fellow in German told her, you don't have to worry, we ain't gonna hurt you. We just have to stay here. And so she showed us what rooms we could have, and we got the rooms. So then she asks him in German, are you hungry? So naturally he said yes. She said, we'll go and get some eggs and chicken and ham. Ham, I said, where are you gonna get the ham? So she takes us to the fireplace, and she makes us look up into the chimney, and there's a big smoked ham that they were curing. So they said they'll cut that up. And we stayed there 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and we really enjoyed it. So while we're there, we nailed a German payroll truck that was being sent to pay the German soldiers. So naturally, we took all the money we could out of their pocket. Our gas mask, we threw the gas mask away, and we put the money in that. So when we left this home, we took our money, and one of the fellows said, the sergeant said, Andy, what good is this money in our pocket? We go out there tomorrow, we can get hit, and somebody will get... So I thought, well, let's give it to the 2 people here. They've been good to us. So we piled all our money on the table. They looked at it, their eyes went wide. And she said, well, that's no good for us. So we said, oh yes, this money you can use here. You can exchange it. So they didn't know how to grab him and was hugging us and everything. So if I'm not mistaken, they lived quite a few years with all that money they had, because it was a low. But when I came home, I happened to tell my future wife, she says, you're sick, Tom. She says, you're sick. You took a chance taking that. And I said, honey, we couldn't carry it. It wouldn't do us no good. I said, because if we get hit, some other GI would take it out of our pockets. Just where we gave it to those people.
I think after the war ended, the German money probably wasn't any good.
No, it wasn't any good anymore. But the one that they had given the GIs was good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they ever used it all up, or if they did, God bless them.
Now, were you in any of the liberation and concentration camps at all?
No.
Were you aware of them?
Oh yeah, we came across the main one.
Austerlitz?
Auschwitz?
Yeah, Auschwitz. Boy, and you seen fellas there. They were skin and bones. And they were very happy to see us, and they took care of them.
Now, did you liberate any of the POW camps where Americans were held at all? Or?
Up to one of them, I don't remember which it was, and we got them out of there. But it's an experience that I wouldn't want to go through again. At my age, I know I'm not going to go through it.
Now, did you go stay in Germany when the war ended?
Yes, we were occupied. We were occupation for
Now,
a
did you
while.
ever have any encounter with the Russians?
We met them at the Elbe River.
Mm-hmm.
We had to stay there and wait for them.
Mm-hmm.
And here we said, here we are. We have to wait for them. But then they met, we met, and that was it.
Okay. How long did you stay in occupied Germany?
I can't recall how long it was.
Now, do you remember where you were when you heard about the death of President Roosevelt?
Yeah, I forgot where we were.
How did you feel when you heard about
Well,
that?
he said, too bad, he put us here, but now he's not here to help us anymore.
Where were you when you heard about the end of the war in Europe?
In
Germany, yes. What was the reaction to everybody?
We're going home, because then they came out with the point system. So naturally, us fellas that were with the original, with the 9th Division, and I had 149 points. So one of the fellas said, "Hey Tom, you're going to go home." I said, "Yeah, I hope so." But before when they came out with him, we weren't with the outfit. We were traveling to get homes in Germany for them. So when we heard that, took the radio on the Jeep and I called back. "Hey Frank, get my papers ready." He says, "What do you mean?" I says, "We just heard." "Yeah," he said, "but you're not one of them because you're way out there. You got to wait till you get back with the outfit." I said, "Oh man." He says, "Sorry." So then when they came up there, they start weeding us out. And the one with the highest points was sent home.
Did you go home on a troop ship?
Yep.
When were you discharged?
June 23rd, 45.
Okay.
It was June 30th.
From whereabouts? Fort Dix?
We went to Fort Dix, yeah. And then, no, we didn't go to Fort Dix. We went to the one up here in New York.
Shanks?
Shank. They sent us up there. And then from there, discharged.
So how'd your dad feel when you got home?
Oh, he was tickled pink because when I got hit, it was on a holiday, Labor Day. Now, that's right, Labor Day. And he was home, and he got the news, so he called up my fiance and told. Well, naturally, they all got excited, and they left what they were doing, and they drove to Jersey to my father because he was alone. And so then my fiance says, "I'm going to write letters. You got to get you home." It didn't work. I said, save the stamps, honey.
Well, when did you get married?
I got out of June 23rd, August the 18th, I was married.
Okay. Did you make use of the GI Bill?
Yes, I forgot what it was. I got it for something.
A mortgage for your house?
No. What did I do there? I don't remember. Gee, I can't remember that.
Did you ever
Wasn't
use,
much.
you ever use the 5220 club?
Oh yeah, I used that up.
Max that out?
Oh yeah, that thing I used up fast.
All right. Now I see you belong to a veterans organization. You became active in veterans organizations?
We did until they broke it up. Well, at this time I was working with the United Parcel, and they formed this here. But then things went wrong, and they stopped. So I would just kept the hat and everything. That's all.
So you don't belong to any veterans groups
No.
now? Did you ever go to any reunions with your organization?
Yes, I went down back to Fort Bragg 1 year with my wife, and we had a very nice time there.
Did you ever stay in contact with anyone that was in service with you?
For a while I did until they passed away. We used to correspond with each other.
Okay. Did you ever go to see any USO shows while you were in the service?
Well, whenever they had them for us, we would go, but we didn't have that many of them, that you can be sure of that.
Mhm.
We did see Bob Hope, Jerry Colon, and Marilyn Monroe, one of the shows, but not too many of them.
Okay. How do you think your time in the service changed or had an effect on your life?
Well, it made me look at life a different way. Because from what we seen over there while we were there, I always said, thank God that it hasn't hit the United States. But the people over here thought it was a joke sometimes. But we used to tell them, if you seen what those poor people went through, you wouldn't laugh. But, you know, they felt that way.
Now you have a photograph to show us.
I can't remember where this was taken.
It was probably taken either in basic or while you were with the 9th, stateside.
Because you have no ribbons or anything else on it, so it must have been...
No, that was before, that was must have been when I first went in.
Okay. All
Okay,
right. Well,
thank
thank you very much.
I gotta hold this here?
I got it.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Thanks.